If you're a small creator who wants to start making $1,000 to $5,000 a month, then this video is for you, because I'm gonna break down the easiest ways for you to turn your content into income. And by the way, if you're new here, hi, my name is Tika, and last year I quit my corporate job and became a full-time creator entrepreneur. On this channel, I talk about online business and personal branding so that you can achieve freedom doing work that you love. Starting with some important context first, what I'm about to share is coming from 2 years of obsessively studying how successful creators make money online. I've also invested thousands of dollars into business and content courses for myself and did my own fair share of trial and error too. And last year, within a couple months of me starting my first online business, I went from zero to earning $3,000 a month without relying on AdSense or brand sponsorships whatsoever. Now, there are a ton of ways for creators to make money online, but the main ways I would say are coaching, online courses, digital products, paid communities, and merch. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down each and every one of those and also give my very honest take and opinion on how easy it is to actually make $5,000 a month as a small creator without a big audience, the pros and cons of each model, as well as how difficult it is to actually keep that business model running as a solopreneur, so someone who is operating on their own without a big team. By the end, you'll have a much clearer roadmap for choosing the right monetization strategy for you. Timestamps below as always because I value your time. Starting off with coaching, I honestly think that coaching is one of the best and fastest ways for small creators to start earning a lot of money. With one-to-one coaching especially, you can start charging high ticket prices, and because of that, you only really need like a handful of clients in order to start making a full-time income. If you want to be making $5,000 a month, then you would need to design a deeply personalized coaching program where you're taking your client through a serious transformation over the period of several months. So to use an example, let's say you're a fitness coach and your offer is that I'm gonna help you lose 10 kilos over 6 months without restricting you or cutting out the foods that you love. So you can see that there's a very clear, desirable outcome that you're promising your client, and it's over an extended period of time. During these 6 months, typically you would have like weekly one-on-one check-ins with a client. You'd have like a tailored workout program and meal plan for them with, their food preferences and things that they like. And you'd also maybe have like instant direct messaging support, like access to you. And often people would throw in like, community support, like you would have access to all the other people that coach is coaching, amongst other things like access to resources. Now, the reason why that you can start charging high ticket prices for these things is because of 3 main reasons. 1 is transformation, 2 is personalization, 3 is proximity. Being super real here, there's no shortage of free information online on how to get in the best shape of your life, how to get rich, how to find your perfect partner. But honestly, if free information alone was enough for people to achieve their dream outcome and their goals, then everyone would be shredded and rich and have the perfect relationship. But we all know that that is not 90% of people. So the value of a coaching offer isn't in the information provided, but the implementation of the solution, because you are ultimately paying for that guaranteed transformation, someone to take you through step by step to get you over the line. Another aspect of coaching that makes it highly valuable is the personalization. So whenever I coach clients to turn their content into income, I'm not just giving generic cookie cutter advice, because that's just not helpful. Every channel, every creator, every niche is unique, and you need to provide a unique solution in order to maximize that creator's success. The advice and the plan that I give needs to be tailored and needs to be nuanced and specific to that channel and to that creator, because one business model for one channel could work perfectly well, but could be completely unprofitable for a different creator. The third thing that I mentioned is people pay for that proximity. And so you often will have a lot of one-on-one time with the client. They have instant direct messaging access to you whenever they need. And it's a very high level of support that you're giving. So let's talk about the numbers here. Let's say you're charging $1,000 per month per client, which is something that I've done before in the past. then ultimately you only need 5 clients every month in order to reach that $5,000 a month goal. And that doesn't mean that you need to sign on 5 new clients every single month. Let's say that your program is 6 months long, then you really only need to onboard new clients like twice a year in order to keep that $5,000 benchmark, which is absolutely doable, especially as a solopreneur and someone who doesn't have a team. Here are some pros for coaching. Why I highly recommend this for beginner creators who are starting to monetize is because you can start earning a very decent income even with a small audience. The other thing is that one-to-one coaching is probably the most effective business model in terms of actually getting results for people. And I hope you all in the back can hear this because I'm about to drop some real gold here. Your ability to be successful in business and to make a lot of money is directly correlated with how well and how often you can actually get results for people. Because when you get results from people, you can use that as testimonials, which will then attract even more clients, which means you can get even more results for more people. And then you get more testimonials, you get more clients, and you very, very quickly just get into this beautiful client acquisition flywheel. Finally, the data that you collect with one-to-one coaching is priceless. Because you're working so intimately and so closely with the client over a very long period of time, and once you service multiple clients, you start to learn a lot about what are the bottlenecks in their journey, what are the biggest and most frequent pain points that they are experiencing in getting from step A to step B, or step 0 to step 100. And from there, you can use that data in order to create digital products and more scalable products in the future. So some cons with coaching, obviously it's a very big time investment on your part because you're having a lot of frequent calls with people. It's a lot of proximity to you and one-on-one time. But honestly, I don't really think of this as too much of a con and more of a rite of passage, because at the beginning with business, you don't really know how to work smart and you don't really know what levers to pull. You don't have leverage. Leverage is basically how much output you get from the input of work that you're putting in. And so at the beginning, you don't really know what levers to pull yet. And so you just need to work really hard at first. And then over time, you start to realize, okay, those are the levers that I can pull, and then you can pull them and then you have leverage. But until then, you just gotta work hard until you can work smart. The second con is that if you are an introvert, then this can be very energy taxing on you. And I totally get that because I myself am an introvert to the core. And so what's really helped me is just being very realistic with my capacity, how many clients I can actually take on each month, how many calls that I can realistically have with people without exploding. And you just need to figure out what that balance is for you, because you can absolutely achieve amazing results for people still whilst protecting your energy. The final con, and this is probably the most important one to note, is that one-to-one coaching is not infinitely scalable. There's only one of you and only so many clients that you can take in a month. And so the way to overcome this is over time, you can slowly start to expand it from one-to-one coaching into a small group coaching offer. It's less draining for you as the entrepreneur, and you can also provide each client with peer support and accountability, which honestly, I think makes the coaching program even more valuable for some people. And in terms of numbers, you can still charge pretty high ticket-ish prices. Let's say if you wanted to make $5,000 a month, you can charge $500 per client instead of $1,000, because it's more, group setting, there's less one-on-one. And you can onboard 10 clients and still achieve that $5,000 a month goal. Now, before I move on to the next income stream, if you are a creator who wants to start a business but have no clue where to start, I actually do have this free Notion guide that I prepared. It's called 4 Steps to Starting Your First Online Income Stream in Under 48 Hours. And basically, it's designed to help you identify your monetizable skills and also take you step by step how to actually create an offer that people will pay for. Link is in the description below. The second income source is online courses. Now, the beautiful thing about online courses is that they are infinitely scalable, because you make that resource just one time and then you can sell it forever on repeat. And this is really where the whole make money in your sleep online thing sort of comes from, because imagine being able to wake up in the morning and you see a PayPal notification on your phone and it says that you earned $800 from selling your online course overnight. Or let's say you're on the beach chilling, or having coffee with a friend, and you see that 5 people have bought your online course. From a passive income perspective, honestly, online courses are amazing, but there is a caveat to it. So with coaching, let's say you can charge like $1,000 per client, or even way more, to be honest, depending on your niche and what transformation you're offering. And that's because you're providing really hands-on, personalized support. Whereas with online courses, you can't really charge that much because you don't have that level of support, you don't have that level of accountability, and typically maybe you'd be able to charge like, let's say $200 to $500. So let's talk in terms of numbers. Let's say your course is $300. You would need to make 17 sales every month in order to get $5,000. And 17 sales doesn't sound like much, but it really depends on your audience size, and secondly as well on how engaged your audience base actually is. So depending on those two things, 17 sales might be a little bit easier or a little bit harder for certain creators. So the thing with online courses is that it's often easier to achieve a few $1,000s a month in sales if you have like a larger audience base, or if you have a very specific and very engaged audience, and if you also have a very robust and largely automated sales funnel and sales process. Another massive con with online courses is that there's no accountability. And so because of that, completion rates are notoriously low, and very few people actually get to achieve the desired transformation. I remember watching this podcast episode with Ali Abdal, and for him, he has his part-time YouTuber Academy. It's a self-paced course. And I remember him saying how like only 10% of people actually complete the course. And you can imagine like out of the 10%, only a small percentage of those people will actually go on to achieve the desired outcome. I've personally done a lot of target avatar interviews in preparation for my own offer, like speaking to a lot of my ideal clients. And one thing that came up time and time again, because I was asking them like, okay, what sort of format would you like the solution to be in if you could, design your dream support system? And what I've heard a lot from people is that they would buy like PDF guides or like online courses in the past. Maybe they might pay like $20, $50, $100. And what ends up happening is that they just completely forget about it. Like maybe they might start it, but they don't ever finish it. And it just collects dust on their digital shelf. And so the real risk here in doing a self-paced course is that you're not going to have as many people achieving the desired outcome or the desired transformation. What this means for you as a business owner is you're going to get less and less testimonials. And as I mentioned earlier, less testimonials means it's going to be harder to get more clients in future. And that's why volume is so important when you're trying to sell an online course, because only a small percentage of people are actually going to start it, and even smaller percentage are going to complete it, and an even smaller percentage of those people are actually going to achieve the desired outcome. And so that's why I say it really helps if you have a larger audience base or a highly engaged audience base, and that way you can achieve the volume and the numbers. Now, it's not all cons with online courses. The reason why people opt for this monetization strategy is because, like I said, it's infinitely scalable. You make it once and you can just keep selling it forever with like updates like here and there in future. It's much lower barrier for entry for your audience to just like opt in and buy the product as compared to something a bit more expensive and more high touch like one-on-one coaching. It's also easier to sell in some ways compared to one-on-one coaching because you're not asking for as much money from the client, and because of that you don't really need to hop onto discovery calls to sell a course. And so all you really need is just like a robust sales funnel. Now, before we get onto the next business model, I did want to just say that there's no like perfect or right way to structure your offers, or there's no perfect order to start monetizing. But the one that I can see works really well and that I would highly recommend to a lot of creators, not everyone, but most creators, is that you start off with a high ticket one-on-one coaching offer. And because of that, you can gain a lot of feedback from your customers in terms of like what are the most prevalent, common, and painful pain points that they experience in their journey. and you can use those data points to then design a course to service people who may not be able to afford your one-to-one coaching offers, or who may just want to like do it on their own. So where coaching lacks in scalability, you can make up for in digital courses in future. Next is your digital products. So these are your ebooks, PDF guides, templates, and things like that. Now these are usually very low ticket offers. So you would charge somewhere between like $10 to $50, let's say, for like a Notion guide or an ebook. Now talking numbers here, let's say you price your digital product at $20. You would need to make 250 sales a month to reach that $5,000 a month target. Now that is a lot of volume that you would need to do, especially as a small creator. And so I really would not recommend for someone who wants to earn a full-time income as a creator. And if you have a smaller audience, digital products, like lower ticket ones like this anyway, are not exactly the best way to go about doing that. But on the flip side, of course, it's so easy to deliver and to sell this product. Most people will see the low price tag, $20, they won't think much of it, and it's a very easy, quick impulse buy. Now, the great thing about digital products, similar to online courses, is that you can make it once and it's infinitely scalable, and you can just keep selling it. And so it's very easy to create and then deliver it. And it's also a really great way to serve more people who would otherwise not have the budget for your higher ticket offers. But here's where the nuance comes in. So with these lower ticket offers, because the price is so low, there's very low perceived value in the product. And so what I mentioned earlier with the online courses, people will just like pay for them on an impulse buy. Like it's very easy to do so because they see a product, it's only $20. It's like, okay, why not? And because they're paying so little for it, there's very little skin in the game. And often what you see happening is people will buy these products, buy these courses, and they just never open it. They never finish it. They don't get any sort of like meaningful result. Like it's great if you can offer a quick win or a framework that they can use, but really you're not gonna get like shining testimonials from these sort of products. Whereas with more higher end, high touch coaching offers and things like that, you actually do get a meaningful, deep transformation. The final con is that volume is so essential when you wanna be selling a large number of digital products. The math only really works out at scale. And if you're someone who doesn't have a large audience, then it's gonna be way more difficult to sustain a full-time income, especially if you're relying on this as like your main source. So in short, I would say digital products like these would be great as like a supplementary income stream if you're a small creator. And it's good to layer on top of your higher ticket offers, such as your online coaching or your higher ticket online courses. They're not gonna give you that consistent full-time income that you're looking for, especially as a smaller creator. Now, if you've got 1 million subscribers, that's a completely different story, and it's much easier to get a lot of money from selling low-ticket offers. The next business model is paid communities. A community is a private space where your audience pays to be part of a group that you lead. So think School, Circle, Mighty Networks, or even Discord. So people primarily join these in order to gain access to your ecosystem and to also connect with like-minded individuals. It really gives them that accountability on their goals, and it allows them to just go slightly deeper into your ecosystem beyond just consuming your free content. Pricing can really range a lot with paid communities. It can go from like $10 a month for a more like lightweight chat style community to maybe somewhere between like $100 to $200 a month for a more structured program where you have like live calls and access to you as the creator, and maybe like a resource library that they can access anytime, as well as a clear transformation that you're promising the client. So let's do the math. Let's say you're charging $50 a month per person for your community. You would need to have 100 clients or 100 subscriptions per month in order to reach that $5,000 a month target. Now you can very clearly see in terms of volume, you need way more for this versus like a one-to-one coaching offer where you would only need like 5 clients in order to reach that target number. So one big pro of a paid community is the subscription model, which means you have a bit more financial stability. People are like paying you every single month to stay within your community. And so you're not starting from zero each month like you would with digital products. The other thing is that it's scalable. So you build it one time, and once you've set everything up, it doesn't really take too much effort to add new members into the community and just keep growing it. So some cons with paid communities: retention can be a big challenge. Like like if you don't set up your community well, and if you don't like continually give them value and there's not much engagement, then people can sort of like ghost or like just stop paying after a month or two. And you can potentially get very high churn rates with these. There's also a lot of ongoing momentum that's required and energy on your part. Like, people think that, oh, communities, they're so easy. There's actually a lot of effort that goes into maintaining a community and keeping that community engaged. And the final con is, compared to one-to-one coaching, you do need way more volume in order to reach your revenue targets each month. And so for small creators, it really depends on how you play it. I don't think a lighter weight community that's like $10 a month will really help at all in allowing you to reach your revenue goals. And so if you're a small creator, you would be better off with having a more like high touch, more premium level community. What I mentioned earlier, you know, charging $100 to $200 a month, where there's a very clear transformation you're offering people, and you're doing like, you know, regular calls, like maybe once a week or like a couple times a month. And you're also providing them with a lot more extra value, like, you know, resource library or like a community private group chat, amongst other things. The final way to monetize is through merch. So think things like selling your own products, your towels, mugs, tote bags, t-shirts, and things like that. This is great and works really well if you are more in like the entertainment, vlog, lifestyle space of YouTube, less so the educational space, but it still can work. Like, let's say if you're a fitness influencer or you're in like the wellness space, then you see a lot of people selling their own merch. For beginner entrepreneurs, I usually would not recommend physical products to start off with, because there's way more complexity involved in the fulfillment of this model. So you would need to think about things like inventory and holding stock, and how are you going to ship it to your customer, and where are you going to source the raw materials, and all these other things that you would otherwise not need to worry about if you had digital products instead. However, there is a solution to this, which is a print-on-demand model. Print-on-demand is where you design and sell custom merchandise online without ever needing to touch inventory. So instead of buying your products in bulk, you only pay for an item after a customer orders it, and then it's printed and shipped directly to them. Which brings me to today's sponsor, which is Printify. Printify makes this process a lot easier and a lot faster. All you really need to do is to upload your design, connect it to a store like Etsy or Shopify, and then basically Printify will handle all the rest, from your printing, the packaging, and shipping to your customers. There's zero upfront costs and no storage needed, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how easy it is to set all of this up. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is show you guys an example of a product that is already existing on Etsy, so you can kind of see like, okay, roughly how much can you charge for it, and how many sales can you get, and what is the revenue that you could potentially earn. Let's go to etsy.com. Let's say we want to make a phone case, right? So let's type in phone case, and then let me just pick this one. You can see here the price of it is, okay, if you convert that to USD, it'd be about $15. Okay, so this particular phone case has made 853 sales. And so in revenue, this product has gotten over 12,500 in sales so far, which is pretty good. So we're gonna create our design now. And I was thinking, because, you know, the iPhone 17 just came out in that orange color, and because Halloween is also coming up soon, it would make sense to sort of like maybe make a phone case in the Halloween theme. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So we're gonna go to Canva to create our design, open up a blank document like here. And I'm just gonna create like a random Halloween design just to show you guys. So let's make the background orange, and let's add in this cute little pumpkin with a witch hat. I personally like minimalist designs when it comes to phone cases, so let's stick to this, and then we're going to download the design. Now that we've got our design, we're going to go to our Printify account. So if you're a new user, you're going to need to create a new one, but I already have an account with them, and this is my Printify dashboard. So you can see like I've already made one design here previously. This is a t-shirt. And so since we want to make a phone case, we're just going to scroll down, and here you can see tough phone cases. You can select that, and you can just start designing here. And you can pick whichever model you want to make the phone case for. So over here, it's already selected to iPhone 17, but you can take your pick on whichever iPhone or Samsung model you want to do it for. So now we're just going to upload the design that we made on Canva. And here we go. So I'm just going to maximize it a little bit so it fills up the screen. We have got the design here already, and all you need to do is just go down here, save product, and it'll create the mock-up for you. So save selection, and then there you have it. So you've got your phone case design all ready to go. That's what it looks like. And you can put your listing details over here. So what do you want to call it? A little description of it. So I would put something along the lines of, you know, new iPhone 17 phone case, Halloween themed, or something along those lines. And you can also set the pricing as well. And then when you want to publish it, all you have to do is connect it to a store. So before this, you would have already like created an account with Etsy or Shopify or like another storefront like TikTok Shop. And so you would connect your store here, and then all you have to do is just publish. So yeah, as you can see here, because I haven't connected a store yet, it will prompt me to connect to either Etsy or Shopify or somewhere else. Once you've done all that, what you want to do is actually just go to like your Etsy or your Shopify store, and then you just want to update the listing keywords to make sure that the right people are going to find your product. And pro tip, you can use ChatGPT to help you out with this as well. Now, every single time a person buys from you, Printify will then print and then ship your product directly to the customer, and then you get to keep the profits. A few key notes on Printify is that they offer the best rates in the market. They have the largest catalog with over 1,300 products, and they have a large global production network, which means that you can print locally and avoid extra fees. They also integrate seamlessly with a lot of platforms like Etsy, Shopify, TikTok Shop, and way more. So let's do the math now. If you want to be earning $5,000 a month and you're selling phone cases, your profit margin might be like $10 per phone case, which means that you would need to be making 500 sales every single month to reach that revenue target. That is a lot of volume that you need, and it's also like a one-time purchase. Like, people will buy a phone case once and then that's it. You're starting from zero again the very next month. It's not as stable as like a coaching offer or like a paid community where people renew their subscriptions, which is why I wouldn't necessarily recommend merch as like your primary income source, especially as a small creator, and especially if you're looking to make thousands of dollars every month, because it would be way more easier with a larger audience to be making a lot of money if you can do the volume. Another con is that there's lower margins with physical products because you need to actually get raw materials to make the thing. So compared to digital products where there's no like really upfront costs other than on your time, your profit margins are gonna be way lower. Again, it's also very volume dependent, so it works well if you've got a larger audience or if you have a very established and engaged audience base. Another major drawback as well is that you're not really getting any sort of meaningful transformation. Like, no one's life was ever changed from buying a hoodie or a t-shirt or a cap. And so in terms of like the actual impact you're gonna have on people, it's gonna be pretty minimal. But on the flip side, it is great for branding, and it establishes like this really clear brand identity that people can latch onto. It's an identity that your audience can aspire towards. So when they buy your merch, you know, they're supporting you and they're supporting your values and what you stand behind. And you know, it's because they probably have similar values and beliefs to you. And so wearing that is sort of like a reinforcer or like a reminder of like the person that they want to be. And so ultimately it deepens that connection with your brand. The other major advantage with this is that it's very scalable. So you design the thing once and you can just keep selling it forever. So my honest take on this is that merch is a very fun way to like make money on the side and to also like deepen that connection with your brand. However, it shouldn't be like your primary source of income, especially if you're a small creator. It's great as a top-up once you've already established your higher ticket, more stable offers like your one-to-one coaching or your online courses. So I hope all the information was helpful in letting you decide which monetization strategy or business model would be best for you and your channel. If you do want more free value, I do have a weekly newsletter where I share things on online business, building a life of financial freedom, and also building a profitable personal brand. So if you are a YouTube creator who is looking to monetize beyond AdSense and brand deals, then you'll find way more in-depth tips in that newsletter. Link in the description below. Okay guys, take care and see you in the next video.